Hello guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, listen, I didn't cover this story. I mean, we all seen it, but I didn't do a video on this story yet. And it's about that container ship that crashed into a bridge out there in Baltimore early in the morning. Now, when I first seen that, I couldn't believe it. That was a couple of days ago. And I wanted to wait a little bit to see what was behind that. And, man, that is devastating. You know, I was sitting up here and I was thinking about it. Just seeing that ship, the way it hit, it was like if you were on that bridge, any of them sections that was going to fall, you had no chance, no matter how fast you went in the car or not. Because that thing came down like Legos. And the reason why I'm doing this story now, guys, is because I seen the article last night that showed the actual damage up close during the daylight hours, and how serious, and like the video talks about how serious and how hard and challenging a job it is to remove this ship first off the bridge and to get these people that are submerged there that didn't survive out of the water and just clean the whole thing up. Basically what I'm saying. But take a look at this and pay attention. It's a couple of things I want to talk about in this video. Take a look.
Out on the water with the Army Corps of Engineers, and the first up-close look at the massive Dolly container ship and the wreckage of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge laying on top of it. The Dolly's bow crushed under a massive piece of steel.
That weighs somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 tons. We have one of the largest cranes coming in here tonight on the eastern seaboard that picks up 1,000 tons at a time.
The water so muddy and dark, divers and drones have struggled to get a clear view. Submerged under the wreckage, the remains of 4 bridge repair workers still missing. This dashcam video shows them on the bridge a few hours before the disaster. The wife of Julio Cervantes, who survived, tells NBC News the workers were on a break in their cars when the bridge suddenly collapsed. Amazingly, Cervantes survived even though he doesn't swim. The Army Corps of Engineers will have a lead role now in clearing and reopening America's 9th busiest port. Here's the challenge. They need to clear a 700-foot stretch right here to allow ships to get in and out. But it's not just above water, of course, it's below water. And all of that twisted bridge, that metal underwater, it is razor sharp, posing a potentially lethal threat to ships and the divers working underwater.
This work is very unforgiving, and the planning has to be done in extreme detail. And that's the work that's going on today.
Potentially very dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous.
Again today, a team of NTSB investigators on the ship, interviewing the ship's pilots, captain, and crew members. The ship's black box shows alarms going off at 1:24 a.m., indicating a loss of power. The ship's pilot made an urgent call for tugboats and to drop anchor.
It's raining, it's slippery. Of course, we have the hazardous materials. We have containers that are open. We certainly have structural damage everywhere.
With massive cranes and barges arriving as soon as tonight, experts believe it could take a month to clear the wreckage.
When the green button is pushed and go is given by the incident command for those cranes to start picking it out of the water, it will go faster than most people can expect.
But the size and scale of the job, unprecedented.
We certainly understand the demand to get this port functioning and open again. We're going to do that, but we're going to do it safely.
Tom, you're getting a better idea just how involved this cleanup operation is going to be.
Yeah, that's right. The Army Corps tells me that a fully loaded ship like the Dolly, it is going to be just within 12 to 18 inches of the river bottom, and that the depth is 50 feet. So they need to clear everything off the bottom, all the way down to the sand, because otherwise any debris could pose a lethal risk to future ships moving through there.
All right, that's the story. And I thought some of the stuff he said was incredible, and it was very educational. You know, things I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't know. He said, at the end, he said, the ship that's loaded that heavy is about 12 to 18 inches from the bottom during its sailing point. Now, we all know, or I learned this from being on cruise ships, that when ships are coming into port, you know, they have various depth finders showing the depth of the bottom of the ocean in terms of, you know, the bottom of the boat. So they have to go through these little channels that are already made from boats passing in and out of port. And a lot of people didn't know that. You know, I thought, like, you know, you got a big ship, it's just a certain depth all the way through the harbor where you could just turn and just go right to the thing. Because I was like, why do they have tugboats, you know, besides slowing the boat down? But the tugboats have to keep them within this path. Because when you looked at that video, when I kept watching it, I said, man, it seemed like it turned and just went into the concrete pillar, the bridge support, and just went off. It looked like it just turned and went there. And a lot of people were saying it was a conspiracy, and it was just the way the current was. If they lost power, like they said, they also lost what? Hydraulic power. Ships that big and things that big, especially like airplanes and stuff, they have to have hydraulics to move those massive, you know, fins and rudders and stuff like that. That has to be done under hydraulic pressure. There's no way manually somebody can control that. If you lose hydraulic pressure, at the point of when you lose it, whatever position the rudder's in, it will stay in that position. So that's why I think it turned and went like that towards that incongruent with the current, moving it. But I mean, it was like you couldn't have timed that or lined that up any different for it to hit smack dab into that thing. Because when I seen it, I was like, and I don't know why I thought this. I said, okay, it's going to hit that, and then it's going to hit it and then bounce off. I didn't know that that thing was packed all the way up with shipping containers going all the way back. Man, that's horrifying. Could you imagine being on that bridge? They said some of the bridge workers survived, but they said 4 of them didn't. Just sitting in your car talking to your wife or just watching your phone, all of a sudden a bump, and then you look up, everything in front of you was starting to drop, and you wouldn't even have time to start your car up. And then they surrounded in a steel cage. So when you fall into the water, the weight of the cage is going to push your car down anyway. Then once you get out, it's dark and muddy like they said. You trying to swim out of there and you bumping in it, man. When I went for my helicopter crash training, right? They were telling us, you know, they did like the exercise where it was in the dark. And they were saying, you know, if you crash at night, you don't know which way, because they tell you to watch the bubbles and tell you which way up is. But in pitch black water, and like you trying to get over the shock, your body's trying to adjust to being underwater, and like you still trying to process what happened. That's a nightmare scenario. Nobody should go through. That's horrific. You know what I'm saying? And but like getting back to this whole thing, you see they had the Army Corps of Engineers out there. For them to be out there, that's a big task they trying to get done, and they got to get the formula right. They got to understand what's down there. Now, they said once they figure this out, because all it is a bunch of equations and stuff like that, and matching the capacity with the weight of the crane and what parts can be moved and can't. They got divers there, they cutting this stuff in pieces. But they are losing a lot of money with this ship just sitting here, especially with the transit of the bridge. Now, they said once this thing gets going and they start pulling this out the way, it'll be quick. Yeah, I believe they'll be able to pull the rubble out of the way quick, but I mean, the rebuilding process, and I mean, some of them shipping containers, they got perishables on them. Man, this whole thing is a mess. But I'm going to show you something. Just the simplest thing. Now, this might have been a freak accident or just an act of, you know, mechanical failure or whatever. But just it crashing into that bridge and all of the devastation just from that, from a power failure, just shows, you know, a lot of us are real comfortable out here with, you know, how things get to us, whether it's commerce and things like that. And we never think nothing like this could happen. This person or persons driving this boat, they didn't deliver what they had. And it wound up taking out a bridge, which messed up a lot of people outside of the initial thing going on with them trying to deliver their goods. Some people can't go to work because they have to go across that bridge to their job. this whole thing then really messed a lot of lives up. It has. I mean, I've never seen that before. I mean, but you know, because I was looking at it, I'm like, man, okay. So every time I kept rewinding, I'm like, okay, it hit here. I'm like, what if you were standing there? Did you have a time to move? Because like when they show it sped up, you see cars moving back and forth while it's going into that thing. And I'm like, man, I wonder if them cars got off of there. But I mean, those bridges are made, like a lot of times, like if you look at the ones up there in Jersey, like the Walt Whitman and the Ben Franklin Bridge that go into Philly, if you look close, when you're driving, you can hear the slats. Like they have slats where they connect them in sections. So the bridge is made in sections. I guess that's for like, you know, in case part of it got destroyed, they can redo it. But it's made in sections. And like you can usually hear yourself going over them when you're driving, right? But that thing fell in sections. Hopefully they'll be able to fix it soon. But I mean, it's unfortunate that that happened. But I mean, that's something you'll probably never see again. That's I'm 50 years old. I ain't never seen that. You know, it's like they'll show that video for the next 10 years. But hopefully everything will work out, man. I mean, people lost their lives. You know, God bless them. But it could have been a lot worse. But I didn't know that the thing is only 12 to 18 inches off the bottom. A fully loaded ship. That's scary in itself. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Happy Friday to you guys. There won't be a live stream tonight. I apologize because I'm out of town. But, you know, it is what it is. See you in the next video. Take care.